I'm just down here deep in the core network of the matrix looking for an exit, and I thought I'd spend the time in between here and safety just addressing your comments, your feedback, and hoping to answer some of your questions about yesterday's MG4 Excite 51 live stream. So let's get into that now. The new types of batteries, the lithium, ferrous, phosphate batteries, don't have cobalt and don't experience the thermal runaway you speak of. Equal parts truth and falsehood in that one, dude. What I would suggest is that it's true, absolutely, to say that there is no cobalt in lithium iron phosphate battery technology. That's great from a cost constraint point of view. It's also awesome for the environment and for human health because cobalt is properly evil stuff if it gets liberated into the environment. However, it is absolutely false to suggest that lithium iron phosphate batteries are not amenable to catastrophic thermal runaway, because they absolutely are. They're less amenable than other lithium chemistries, but it's still a thing. See, catastrophic thermal runaway can happen with a conventional lithium ion battery at about 130 degrees C, but the threshold for thermal runaway is in that 200 to 250 degrees C ballpark for lithium iron phosphate chemistry. And if the battery gets that hot, I'd be running away and heading upwind when it happens. This video is brought to you by Manscaped.com, the global men's grooming powerhouse, now proudly enhancing beards everywhere. I'm actually a huge Manscaped fan. My Dome and the Lawnmower 4.0 are besties. Finally, Manscaped has launched a dedicated beard trimming and maintenance system called the Beard Hedger Pro Kit. Speaking to you directly and bluntly momentarily, there's absolutely no point having a silky smooth scrotum if one's facial hair ruins that all-important first impression. Facial hair is a window into what a potential partner might expect elsewhere. It sets the tone. Unkempt upstairs, it's going to be a jungle down there. Wild Kingdom. Nobody wants that. The Beard Hedger has a powerful 7,200 RPM motor and a titanium-coated T-blade that can cut through an epic rug with a single stroke. Anything from 5 o'clock shadow to the full Wookiee extravaganza is possible. Choose from 20 different lengths via the zoom wheel that uses only one guard. This trimmer is waterproof, cordless and rechargeable, so trim in the shower to save time and minimise cleanup. Finally, a dedicated device for your face and its partner in crime for the twins, the lawnmower. No more double dipping upstairs and downstairs. I think we can all be happy with that. Manscaped also has awesome beard care products to help you rock a magnificent rug. Their beard oil is infused with almond, sunflower and jojoba oils. Beard shampoo is cruelty-free, paraben-free, etc. The beard conditioner is infused with coconut oil, shea butter and vitamin E. Style at will, dude, with beard balm that smells super fresh thanks to eucalyptus, rosemary and lavender oils. The Beard Hedger Pro Kit includes the mighty Beard Hedger, beard shampoo, beard conditioner, beard oil, beard balm, and a travel case, plus a free gift comprising beard brush, beard comb, and beard scissors. Go to manscaped.com/AutoExpert today and get 20% off plus free international shipping when you use the promo code AEJC at checkout. That's 20% off plus free shipping with promo code AEJC at manscaped.com/AutoExpert. To your beard, this is what 100 Christmases feels like. Thanks, Manscaped. Nice one. So, while we're down here in the core network of the Matrix, loitering with intent, check this out. End fossil fuels now, really. I'm sure they mean well, but I wonder if they could explain to you or me exactly what we're going to do about the 3 billion people who will certainly starve if we don't have hydrocarbon-based fertiliser and what we're going to do about having to stop manufacturing steel, because you can't actually do that without metallurgical coal, and to me, that's kind of a problem. The bum activation presents a problem as to what weight is required to activate it. A petite woman weighing 40 to 50 kilos might not set the sensor off. That weight is equivalent to a young teenage boy. John, what are your thoughts on the resale of EVs? Who is willing to purchase a 5, 10, 15-year-old EV when the cost to replace EV batteries is prohibitive, e.g. Prius? Not better for the environment. Okay, dude, so I was with you when you were talking about petite young woman, and then you went down this tangent about young teenage boys, and I'm gonna say, dude, what were you thinking? Anywho, more to the point here, when we're talking about Buttoctronic Pro Plus in the MG4 Excite 51, the fact that it needs to detect your ass, gotta hustle here for a minute, it needs to detect your ass just ever so slightly before it'll start. Okay, so I don't mind that. It's actually well thought out, and you can sit there watching YouTube and thinking, oh, that's going to be a problem because, but there's actually a bunch of brainiacs out there who are tasked with getting this kind of system right. And they do think about the weight of the driver and the ergonomic extremes of the mass of the driver. What's the heaviest driver that's ever likely to sit in the car? And what is the lightest one? And I can tell you that just a few kilos of activation pressure is enough, because when I was filming that car, I leant in to the center console just to move this or that, I forget what, and it booted itself for driving when I put one hand on the seat base of the driver's seat. So you just have to have a little bit of faith that the people who are tasked with getting this kind of system right actually take their jobs fairly seriously, and some of them actually do it like a freaking extreme sport. On this vexed issue of exactly what is a used EV going to be worth in 10 or 15 years, I'd suggest probably about the same as a 15-year-old conventional car, i.e. not very freaking much. So what we got to bear in mind there is recycling is certainly an option, but it wouldn't be my first choice. What we need to do is assess the condition of the battery pack, like its likelihood to fail. And if it's not likely to fail, the obvious second life for a battery is to use for home energy storage. You got a solar array up there on the roof, why not catch some of those big fat photons and store them in a battery? To me, this makes complete sense. And even if the battery has diminished in its storage capacity to only 30% of what it was when it rolled off the line, in the case of the MG4 Excite 51, it's still going to store 15, 16, 17, 18 kilowatt hours. And the average household probably doesn't consume that much total electricity in a day. So that would be more than adequate as battery storage to augment your solar array upstairs for nighttime use. In RWD EV, how do you get enough regen when a car brakes 80% on front wheels? So is the computer adding front brakes? If you are on max regen and take your foot off the accelerator, does the back end overtake the front, or do we start using front brakes, so needing to replace brake pads more often than a front wheel drive EV? Work with me here, dude, because to me, you are living in the 70s. And when that happens, your face gets dirty just walking around, and you need another pill to calm you down. Obviously, everyone under 30, of course, is going, the fuck's he talking about? All I can say there, because Google knows everything and you can research it on your own, is RIP Shirley Strawn, mediocre helicopter pilot, but awesome lead singer of the smash hit rock band in Australia known as Skyhooks. And the reason I'm putting it like that is, in the olden days, before microprocessor control, engineers were forced to compromise on the performance of rear brakes, and they did that for a really good reason, which was, without a proportioning valve, the rear brakes would lock up first, and then cars would pirouette down the road every time it freaking rained. It'd be dogs and cats living together, and nobody wants that. But these days, with microprocessor control and electronic brake force distribution and systems of that nature, the rear brakes actually do quite a lot of the stopping of the car. And let's face it, with regen, it doesn't really matter which axle is doing the regen. because it's only a supplemental braking system. The actual maximum braking effect of Regen is nothing like smashing the brakes and demanding maximum retardation out of the car. It's nothing like that. So it doesn't matter which axle is doing the Regen, it's more than up to the task, dude. Oh my God, just buy a spare wheel and put in the trunk. Yeah, about that, Alana. Pro tip, don't do that. Because if you run up the buttocks of the car in front, or you roll your car and then run up the buttocks of the car in front, you'd want to make sure you've done a really good job restraining that tyre that was never designed to be sitting on the cargo floor, because otherwise it might come forward accelerating at 15 or 20 Gs and brain you. Oh, absolutely hate seeing these cars with no spares. Yeah, me too, dude. I freaking hate it as well. And the lack of spare tyres in such an increasing number of cars, eco cars first, of course, but performance cars as well, has absolutely nothing to do with being any kind of benefit to the consumer, and it has everything to do with the car maker just cutting cost and hoping that nobody notices on the showroom floor. Are you sponsored by Bunnings? I know there are rather a lot of tools evident in the Fat Cave, and some people have alleged to me that this is something of a sickness, but I freaking hate Bunnings. Bunnings is like the colonoscopy of tool suppliers. It's a necessary evil. I mean, sometimes you just need somewhere that'll sell you a bag of concrete mix or something, or a cheap cordless power drill, blah, blah, blah. But if you'd really like to enjoy the practice of buying tools and machinery, you have to go to a hardcore engineering joint like Hare and Forbes or something like that, Bolt and Nut Australia online, where they can sell you actual proper fasteners and really nice tools and things of that nature. It's far more uplifting than Bunnings. Your failure is you are demanding people comply, like learn more science and not have the freedom to choose. People may want to stay with combustion engines, that is their right. If people want to own a house, land in one region and travel for how long period to their place of work, then that is their prerogative. That is a gross mischaracterization, and I reject it without reservation. I don't care if you want to be a dumb shit. I'm not demanding anyone learn science. The fact is, you can split society into two different camps. There are the people like me who know how shit works and who can make things work when they're broken, and there's everyone else who's just at the mercy of technology and STEM. If you're a parent and you don't advocate for your kids to know as much STEM as possible, you are doing them a gross disservice for their future. But hey dude, it's a free country, that's on you. John, love your videos, however can you make them about 20 minutes long? Everyone is a frustrated executive producer. That's one thing that being a YouTuber has taught me. However, I would suggest that the deficiency in your attention span is a matter for you, not me. Okay, who stole John Cadogan and inserted this nice talking fake? I appreciate your candor, your honesty, Jackaroo dude, bringing that to my attention. I'm ashamed to admit it, but having reviewed the MG4 Excite 51 live stream, I have come to the same conclusion as you, to wit, I was not nearly enough of a cock during that live stream. I apologise to you without reservation, and I can give you my solemn commitment to go for maximum cock next time. Don't you worry. I'd hate to think that I've lost my touch permanently. All I can suggest is that the additional cognitive burden of actually being live, it's like walking down the street here and not walking into every young hottie you see, it just takes its toll, and it diminishes one's ability to channel one's true self with maximum effect. John, you have conflated two things. Yes, EVs will make a difference to the climate. No, they are not the solution to the climate change problem. I've never heard anyone say they are, yet it's used as such a supposed gotcha by EV skeptics. Nah, dude, not buying into that. That is unmitigated bullshit. EVs are not a major part of any climate solution. The whole EV issue has been weaponised by various regulators and vested interests so that it represents the idea of a climate solution to the population at large, because everyone can relate to cars. In fact, what is happening in this country and most other developed countries is that we've had two really shit federal governments, the second most shit federal government I can remember currently, and the most shit federal government just before that, complete with Minister for Everything Morrison, who was just the glacé cherry on the icing on the frickin' cake there. These clowns are hijacking this debate, making you think that the climate solution is EV, here's your frickin' incentive, when in fact what is happening is every fossil fuel project, no matter how questionable, is being greenlit with great enthusiasm and no launch party, right? It's happening under the radar. There are so many fossil fuel projects getting out of the blocks now that we are, as a nation, once again, disgracefully behind the 8 ball on effective climate action, which, let's not forget, is what most of the population actually wants. And the EV circus, it's really just a weaponized sideshow to make you think that something is being done. Please make a video about efficient EV driving practices to save battery energy. I really don't see there being a tremendous difference between driving for maximum efficiency in a combustion car and in an EV. The same principles apply. I mean, cars are just entropy accelerators, right? They're an advertisement for the second law of thermodynamics. So you start with a highly concentrated bundle of energy and you put it through this processor and all it does is make less concentrated, less available energy. So, you know, happy days. What you've got to do is don't accelerate really hard off the mark. Lift off the quote-unquote gas as early as possible so that you're not burning energy needlessly, because you'll never get it back. Even with Regen, you'll never get it back braking in front. So get off the accelerator soon. Obviously, with an EV, you can do some other hacks, like you could crank the regen so that you are actually catching as much kinetic energy that would otherwise be lost. And on the highway in particular, you could slow down. You could go back from 110 on the freeway to 100, and in 100 zones you could come back to 90. But when you try to get people to do this, actually in the interests of energy conservation, they look at you like you are speaking Sanskrit, because when it comes to the reality of conserving energy and maximising range, this is a sacrifice that 9 drivers out of 10 are simply unwilling to make. Tesla, with their new non-dismantlable, non-repairable structural batteries, look to be quite the future source of hazardous waste. Shame, because their earlier modular ones are very popular, with having second lives in EV conversions, etc. Electric Jesus is, of course, extremely keen for not just you, but all of humanity to know just how clever he really is. And in the minds of the faithful, the dude can do no wrong, but frankly, off the bat, it is insane to have a battery pack that is so expensive and so consumptive of both energy and natural resources, and yet cannot be pulled apart to be repaired, has to go into the grinder. Like, you've got to be kidding. This is one of the duddest concepts ever, which he sells to the faithful as a real innovation, because the battery pack is quote unquote structural. So nice one, Your Holiness. I do struggle watching your content on EVs. Like a lot of your audience, I would assume pistons and combustion are what make a car, and EVs are boring. I'll get why we are heading that way, but let's embrace pistons as long as possible. It's abundantly clear to me that there's already far too much tribalism and emotion wrapped up in the embracing of this powertrain technology or that one. To me, it's far more simple than that. The automotive universe is binary, it's bipolar. There are just two options when it comes to vehicles. There are shit cars and not shit cars. There are shit electric cars, I'm looking at you, BYD entry-level Dolphin, and there are not shit electric cars, I'm looking at you, MG4 Excite 51, for example. There are shit combustion cars and not shit combustion cars. That's just how this rolls. So you should feel free to go and embrace as many Pistons as you want, dude, for as long as they are available. Me, I'm going to concentrate my embrace on hotties. Well, that's what I would have done in the past. I'm actually a little more enamoured of hotties mommies now. I suppose that's how you know you're getting old, or you are old, let's face facts, when the mommies of the hotties are of more interest to you than the hotties themselves. You are old. And for complete disambiguation, let me just clarify that I mean embrace with permission. Let us not just be walking through the core network and embracing some random hotties mommy without first asking for permission. It's the polite thing to do. Anyway, my work here is done. Thanks for joining me on this trip through the core network. I'm looking for an exit at the heart of the City Hotel. It might be just up here. Let's find out.